Welcome back, everybody, to the Dusty Bender Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Chance Watson. With you, as always, your other host, Taylor Wells. Episode 140, 130, actually, coming to you guys
130.
today. 130. Folks, very special guest host today with us, Cam Severson, tough guy extraordinaire. Cam Severson coming at you guys today. Cam, we're happy to have you on the show.
Yes, sir.
Glad to be here. This is my first podcast. I've been asked to do quite a few, but just because Chance came to my hockey camps as a kid, that's the only reason I'm doing this. No,
You feel bad for him, huh? He was that bad. You gotta you gotta make up for it now.
I don't even remember him, but I remember the name. That's it.
He sits back. They go back. Oh God, that first year we had this one kid. He could barely stand up. I don't know how he's going to even play hockey.
Yeah, we'll just take his money.
Pretty
and we'll
much.
call it
Pretty much, yeah. Most
There
of
you
them are
go.
that way.
There you
Yeah,
go.
God, that was so. For those who have no idea, Cam Severson, longtime NHLer, tough guy in the show, and as he's talking about, used to host a hockey camp, very popular hockey camp here. Lots of big names that made it through. A lot of Spokane greats, obviously. I went to the first year, 2004, 2005, the Seversummer, and I think I even went the year after. Those were back when it was out at Planet Ice, a rink that's no longer there. What, Cam, I loved that rink.
Yeah, no, it was a super cool deal. Back in the day, which was kind of weird here in this area, was two brand new rinks, which one had two ice sheets and then one had one, like basically popped up like the same year.
Yeah.
And so it kind of went from like not enough ice to like too much, and there was some stuff that kind of went down with whatever it was with ownership or whatever. But yeah, no, it was cool. I mean, it was an opportunity to I was still playing that today, or I was basically playing in the NHL, and I got kind of approached by, honestly, I got approached by a bunch of local hockey parents that I knew from my hockey camps or from my adult camps that I did to to basically start this hockey school kind of thing, and that's kind of where it went from there. Um,
Had you ever like dealt with teaching kids hockey stuff, or like were you coaching at the time or anything?
Not a bit, not a bit.
No.
To be
Nice.
honest with you, it was yeah, like I said, it was kind of, I so when I was still playing, I had a group of people here that I sometimes skated with in the rec leagues, which I found out that was a terrible idea when I was still playing the NHL and skating against rec league players and stuff like that, like the whole competitive nature of it didn't go well. So, like, I mean, it's just kind of a deal where you're asked from some friends of yours to go play in a rec league game, and then some of the other players that you're playing against found out that you played in the NHL, and so I don't know, it was like kind of a deal where they go pretty hard against you, and
Oh
it
yeah.
was, and I'm a bigger guy and stuff like that, and it was like a deal where, okay, well, hold on, I was just trying to stay out of the way, like I was just
Sure.
trying to have some fun with friends of mine and stuff like that, and then you got somebody that like, oh, this guy plays in the NHL. I should have been there, kind of thing, or something like that. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in the corner and try to rough them up a bit. But
Oh, they're gonna fuck around and find out real quick.
Yeah.
Ooh.
yeah, and that was a quick end. That was a quick end to my adult rec league stuff here in the Spokane area. I
Yeah,
mean,
we call in beer league, Cam, we call that tryhards, man. So that's a definition of just being a tryhard. They want to get after you.
it's
No.
always been that way. But I mean, I don't blame them, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, somebody's out there that currently playing in the NHL. Or, I mean, the worst part of it is years after that, when I retired and hadn't played forever, and trying to join these tournaments or whatever that they got this NHL guy, but even though I'd played for 10 years, I even put my gear on for 5 or 6 years before that. Then the competitive juices kind of come out a little bit, and it's not good. Like I'm like 200, I don't know, 200. Well, when I played, I was 220. Right now I'm about 250, right? So
Yeah.
you lean on somebody, and they're probably not going to work the next day, and then you look like an asshole.
Yeah. Even though they're the
So,
ones who were trying to pick a
Right.
fight. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I always enjoyed it though. I have so many friends from this area, just because of that kind of thing. Like the adult rec league community here I think it's awesome, but at the end of the day, it was kind of, it wasn't great at times, right? Because you just, like, you don't want to hurt anybody,
Sure.
but like I always struggle with it. So that's where I just stopped
So
doing the rec league thing.
Yeah.
Cam, for the inland Northwest, like the Pacific Northwest, like the Spokane, North Idaho area, did you get because you're from Saskatchewan, did you get exposed to the area because of like your time in the WHL?
Well, yeah. So I was traded to the Spokane Chiefs. So in my junior years, so I came from the Prince Albert Raiders, which was a team in the WHL that was in Saskatchewan, in my home province, which was kind of cool with like family and stuff like that. But
Sure.
all the above, 3 hours from my hometown. But I got so the Spokane Chiefs were hosting the Memorial Cup, and this was 2000. This was 1998. I
That
think
sounds
it
right.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there, back in the day, it was like junior teams would, like it still happens to this day. Like whoever's hosting the Memorial Cup, they try to load up on like older 20-year-old players or 19-year-old players that are
Sure.
very well established in the league, and they in turn trade a bunch of young guys or a couple young guys for that player, and so I got an opportunity to play in the Memorial Cup, and
Sick.
it was actually, I mean, we lost to Portland. We single-handedly lost to Marion Hossa. 100. I mean, they were good. I mean, they were.
No big deal. Just Marion Hossa. Yeah, it's fine.
Just a nobody.
No, and I shouldn't say that. I know some of the other players on the team, but like I mean, he was just an absolute stud.
Sure.
And he blew his knee out in the semifinals
Oh
of
shit.
Absolutely worst thing ever happened. He was out for a whole year because of that Memorial Cup, and I'll never forget it. He ended up playing for Ottawa like after a whole year of, because he got drafted by Ottawa. He was really good. Probably top, like if I was to name 3 of the best junior players that I ever played against in my day, Hossa would be number 1, I think.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. No, he was dominant. He was like a man amongst boys. Like, and I played in the day, Chara. I mean, Patrick Marleau. Oh boy, I should have had
Big boys.
some name. Yeah, big boys. Brendan Morrow.
Ooh, big boy. Yeah.
Yeah, like it. Yeah, and he was dominant. So yeah, I ended up getting traded here, and then ended up staying and played pro for lots of years after that, but met my wife and all the above, and started a life here.
Nice. Well, Cam, I want to embarrass you a little bit.
All right.
Here's your stats right here. So I highlighted the season you got traded over from Prince Albert. 20 points in 23 games, though, dude.
That's pretty good, man.
That's pretty damn good. 15 and 18 in the playoffs. That's fucking solid. So, yeah, don't cut yourself short ever, dude. That's money.
Yeah, no, like in junior, I was half decent, I guess, like you'd say. Like, I mean, but I was always kind of put in that stereotype of being kind of a tough guy or whatever it was. But,
Sure.
but it was like, Yeah, no, I I got a huge opportunity by a coach that really liked me that's not very popular right now, and I don't know if I should even bring up. I don't want to get into that, but his name's
Fair
Mike
enough.
Babcock. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
yeah, so I don't know how to tackle that one on my thoughts, but yeah, there was an opportunity that I actually got to,
I,
you
I
know,
got to meet the guy too. I went to the Chiefs. So before your camp, the Chiefs actually still did like a youth camp, and I got to go in
yeah.
2001. So I was a big part of. In fact, I was going to bring up you were skating with some of my child. You know, when you're a kid, you don't necessarily know the pros yet. You just know the local team, and I grew up watching Derek Schutz. Like that
Oh
guy
yeah,
was my
Shoots you was my roommate. Yeah.
no
Nice.
shit.
That's
And
sick.
we grew up in Saskatchewan together, not in the same
Right.
towns, but played Pee Wee and Bantam, these stupid names that we used to have back in the day for the ages of kids. But anyways, yeah, me and Derek played together in youth hockey. And
Oh,
so
that's so cool.
which is even and Brandon Cote's from that same town too, but he was younger than we were. But yeah, so here me and Derek Schutz are from Saskatchewan, played together in 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old. Now we're both playing for the Spokane Chiefs, and we're roommates at our host family's house. So
Oh,
it was
That
that's so
seemed
it was
cool.
planned. That seemed like
yeah.
put the Saskatchewan dudes together. You know,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
those
it
weird
was
weirdos.
definitely
You know.
it was definitely planned, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, Shootsy
That
was
guy.
a yeah, he was just an unbelievable leader, like mature beyond a normal 17-year-old kid's age
I
kind of thing.
now now that I'm old enough, I gotta buy him a beer. He in that Chiefs camp. I don't know if you ever met Joff Keeler. Um, Joff ended up ripping my toenail off with during the camp, and Shootsy picked me up and took me to the trainer's room, got me all bandaged up.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I know.
It
He
was
actually lives in Liberty Lake, so
no shit. All right, well, I have to
yeah.
if he hears this,
There's your
shout
next
out.
guest.
There you
There's your
go.
next guest
Ooh,
right there.
there.
If you got his address and his social, we'll take that too. But
He's Shootsy's a straight. I mean, I don't know. He's a straight and narrow. I guess we all are if my kids are watching this, but
Sure.
we'll
no,
block him.
it's yeah. He's yeah, no, he just moved back here about 3 or 4, 5 years ago, I guess. So,
Sick.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, yeah,
mhm.
definitely have to hit him up. So, talking, you're going back to your career a little bit, just to kind of get people in, if our listeners just don't know who you are. So making your way
Yeah.
through, juniors and whatnot, ECHL, and then, make your jump into the AHL. Explain like the change for a pro. I understand the game might be a little different now, but like that jump from WHL to AHL, like what the skill level, the intensity, tell us a little bit about
Mhm.
that.
Well, that's a very good question because it it's the AHL, so it's the minors, right? So you're thinking, oh yeah, I can play in this league, no big deal. I'm my goal is to play in the NHL, but I guess I got to take a step in the AHL or whatever, right?
Sure.
It is an unbelievable league. Like so
Really?
because I know that for a fact because I started in the ECHL, which is my first year pro
Yeah.
in Peoria, and that's basically like in hockey terms, or well, I guess it'd be more baseball terms, would be the double A of hockey versus
Sure.
triple A, and that league was a step up from junior like you would not believe, for me. But it was more on, honestly, it was more on the life. Like, so you live, like when you play for a junior organization, you have a host family that is basically your second set of parents, and you live with them, and they take care of you, and they feed you, and they do your laundry, and um you become part of their family. So, you know, 20 years old, you get aged out of junior, all of a sudden you're living on your own in an apartment, and you're, like I remember I didn't even, I had to buy a toaster, I had to buy like utensils and plates and
Oh,
forks and
yeah.
everything, like, so
Cam's
the
like, no,
biggest
first thing is the toaster. 100%. We got to get that off.
Gotta have it.
no, you know what? The best thing I ever bought, my grandpa, that was back in the day. Like, so my grandma passed away. And so my grandpa was on his own, and me and my grandpa are really close. I remember talking to him on the phone, and he said, "Well, you got to get this George Foreman grill." And that was
Oh
back
yeah.
in the day when, like, George Foreman grill, you just throw whatever you want on there and
Yeah.
literally cook anything you want, kind of thing. And so that was kind of the deal. But, like, back to the point, I guess it was like the biggest adjustment in pro hockey is like I just said, you're on your own. Like, you went from, like, being taken care of from your parents to your junior team, which, the Spokane Chiefs, they had an unbelievable host. Well, it's called a billet,
Yeah.
I guess is what
Yep.
they call it. But they had an unbelievable host family program where, they had a person that I don't remember her name, but she made sure that she found the right families and made our life, which is crazy because you think about it, like, I have a 16-year-old daughter. I mean, if I'm sending my 16-year-old son to another country, and, like, as parents, it's a big deal. So
Sure.
so it was very, very, and I ended up having the greatest, two hosts. I mean, their name's Rick and Kathy. They uh they they never had their own kids, so they're basically, long story short, they're my second set of parents still to this day.
That's awesome.
They're my third set of grandparents for both my daughters.
Love it.
Yeah, it was really an eye opener, I guess, on moving to pro after that, I guess, is what
Oh
I'm
yeah.
trying to say.
Gotcha.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
crazy because I don't think many people understand, like everybody's always concerned with the on ice stuff, like, oh, how's he going to adapt to the bit, the
Yeah.
ice and the physicality. But these guys they're not just like robots. Like, they got to deal with a lot of off ice changes and whatnot too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure guys, handled it, in different ways, but I know for a fact that everybody that goes their first year pro, it don't matter. Like, even a guy that goes right to the NHL, like out of junior, I mean, it just goes from this to that, and you're on your own. I know, I know nowadays, like I'm pretty good friends. I used to be really good friends with Patrick Marleau, like, so we played, youth hockey. We played on Team Saskatchewan together and all the above. His first year in the NHL at 17 years old, he lived with Kelly Rudy, which is like a longtime NHL guy. I think he's an announcer now, but
Oh, no
he
way.
was on. Yeah, so he lived in Kelly Rudy's guest house, and Kelly Rudy and his wife, and that happens a lot, like in NHL, like, I don't know if Connor Bedard's living with somebody or not, but it
I'm
happened a
sure he
lot back in
has.
the,
Yeah.
like, but I mean, as far as an older veteran off of his team, like,
Oh,
I
yeah. Yeah.
don't,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that happens a lot. So, but like I said, it's, the grind of moving up to a higher level and then trying to live on your own for once that's kind of,
Totally. We,
for me,
uh,
it
we,
was,
we-
yeah.
we've got a few select players we like to pump tires on the show just because of like certain connections or something that we really respect on them. And one of them, we pump the tires of Michael Grabner. Grabner was a chief,
Yeah,
and
Grabs, yeah. Yeah, he worked on my camps too. Yeah.
Oh
Beautiful.
yeah, so Grabby was billeted with a buddy of mine that I think actually probably went to one of your camps too, most likely.
Mhm.
Yeah, he billeted with them. So Grabby is a friend of the show.
I mean,
Yeah, no,
what other
he's
sport are you doing that though, right? Like, you don't hear about football players really doing that. You don't hear about, I mean, maybe
no, and
soccer, but that's just, yeah, it's crazy.
it's not like I do listen to a lot of podcasts just because I mean, it's not really something that's really ever been brought up, like, not that I've heard of, but like it's a huge deal. Grabner came from Austria. Like, he came from a whole
Yeah.
different country. I mean,
Yeah.
I came from a different country, which is Canada, but it's still, I mean, it's not like that.
It's
you know what I mean?
different. It's different.
Yeah. But it's more like, for me, it was more like homesick and kind of like that kind of stuff. Like, these guys are coming over, and trust me, I know, because I went and played in Germany. I played in Germany for 2 years and Austria for 2 years, and it's like, and I was a grown man, and it's like almost like you're a little kid trying to figure out how to even survive there. I mean, setting up a bank account or setting up your phone. I mean, so these kids are coming over, like Grabner's coming over at like what, 17 or something like that, and like, never mind. Yeah. So it's like, there's a lot to it, but it's a character. I mean, it's just I couldn't
100%.
I mean, character build. I mean, it's like, that's why most hockey players that you ever meet are good guys, like really good guys. Like, they're they're humble. They I'm talking Europeans. I'm talking whatever. It's just the way it's kind of set up from the start, right? And
Hockey players are definitely a different breed for sure.
Yeah. No, definitely.
So that's the big change going from juniors to AHL. What's put us in the mind of when you finally get the chance with the Ducks, when you make your way there. By the way, we do have, it's not me, but we do have a big Ducks fan.
Oh, you do?
Co-host. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right there, huh?
Taylor's a pretty big Ducks fan. So, okay, actually, here, let me ask you the most important question about the Ducks. How bad have they ruined their jerseys compared to when you wore them?
I don't. Well,
block that shit out, dude. Block that shit.
I don't even know. Like, I don't know where he's at with it, but think about the jerseys that we had. Like, I mean, we were owned by Disney. Mm-hmm. The whole NHL franchise evolved around a Disney movie.
Right.
Okay. Right.
Did you ever meet the cast or anything like that?
Well, I can go on that. I mean, Michael Eisner. Yeah. So he had a box so they don't own them anymore. But sure. So he had a box and that back in the day was called the Pond.
Okay.
Now it's called the Honda Center.
Right.
But it was, Michael Eisner had a box, met him a couple times at like some kind of, big banquets we would have. Mm-hmm. I mean, never really got to know him too much, but we got to know his son very, very well. And his son would take the box, and his son was, at that time was, I don't know, 16, 17 years old. And he's bringing all of his friends to this VIP box kind of thing that the owner had. And it was, like, to answer your question, like, so one of the awesomest things that's not even a word, is it? Awesomest?
But, yeah, no, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, yeah, we just made it a word.
It's in Canada. That's what we say in Saskatchewan. I'm just joking. But so we would get 4 gold passes, which are Disney passes, gold passes, which means that, like, you got free, you got to get into Disneyland for free, and then you didn't even have to wait in line, kind of thing, for any of the rides.
Okay. VIP,
yeah. And so it was like, it was really awesome, like, in that regards, but it was more like, I felt like I was a Disneyland tour guide, because everybody that came up for a game, and I'm talking my parents, my sister, my cousins, my friends from back home or whatever, or families or whatever it is, that came to uncles and aunts with my nephews, they would come and watch a game, but I'd also have to take them to Disneyland. so it got to a point where I'd take them around and show them all the rides and blah, 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 and spend the day with them to a point of, okay, here's the deal. I'm dropping you off at the front gates. All right. And then you're going to go to Indiana Jones first, and you're going to go to the whatever it is, Space Mountain.
Yeah, there you go.
Matterhorn second.
Yep,
You're gonna because I had it all figured out, like, so you don't have to wait and and all the best rides. But it was actually really cool. I mean, but
that's awesome.
Back to the jerseys. I mean, I think they're better now. Like
really
now. Well, now they're the Anaheim Ducks. Like, so it's still a duck, But like, we got grown men, NHL veterans like Timo Solani, Paul Correa. I'm talking like some big names of like people, wearing jerseys that, and I thought they're awesome. I still have them. I mean, I thought they're awesome, but it was, when you think about it now, it's kind of like, holy man, like these NHL stars, like, I think we had Adam Oates one time too. He's a really good player. I mean, like there's some big names that came through there, but I always kind of laughed because we'd always just like quack quack, like in the locker room, like,
I love it.
like and it's like, holy shit, this is the NHL, but we got like NHL veterans, like kind of somewhat making fun, but I mean, it's still in the NHL, right?
You guys aren't like watching the movies before the games to get pumped or something.
Oh, come on.
No, not at all.
Damn.
No, not at all.
I'd be doing that.
No, nobody was ever like, okay, we're actually going to do the flying V tonight. Like that's
it's the Charlie Conway Bombay speech. Yeah, there you go.
No, and I didn't even really honestly, I didn't even really know too much about that. I mean, I watched the movie, but
sure.
I mean, but it was kind of like, I don't know, you're in the NHL. I don't care
right.
I mean,
that's fair.
So what if my pants are purple pink or whatever the hell they were?
So, it's funny you brought that up. That's my favorite Ducks jersey, the one that's like more like purple than anything.
I mean, now that I think about it, but I like when I was there, they started to transition a little bit off of that, the original jersey, like the
it was like
the
green
white
or something like
like we had a dark black and then we had a purple emblem. And then black socks and kind of that. We still had the turquoise helmets at times.
Right now, I think it's like for the last 3 or 4 years. I think it's basically been said that the Ducks jerseys right now are like some of the worst in the league. So
they rank like 32nd, and then they bring like the jerseys you guys wore, and they're like top 3. So. It's a nostalgia thing though,
Yeah, I get that. No, I've seen them, and I think they look cool. But my point is kind of like when you think about it now, it's like back in the day, it was kind of like almost like a kind of a joke,
that
makes
sense. You got the duck call,
even though it's the NHL, and so I'm kind of like, holy shit, I finally made the NHL, and I'm on this team that's like kind of like, what the hell, quack quack, we're like in the locker room,
the Blueberry Bulldogs, baby,
But we actually went to the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7, lost it. So it's like pretty legit.
I was there for Game 6, Cam. Yeah, I mean, you probably saw me, but
absolutely.
I was probably walking around the stands eating popcorn and hot dogs.
There you go. I'm gonna be on a podcast with that guy one of these days. I can tell. He's like 7 years old. It'll be great.
It's really cool. It was an awesome experience all around. I mean,
love it.
It was so
awesome. Well, but Cam, let's fast forward a little bit to the Ducks today, actually, because the Ducks have been kind of in the news recently. I don't know if you've heard about this guy before, Gibson.
Goalie,
Johnny boy.
He's it sounds like he's been, a lot of teams are kicking tires on this guy, and
Oilers need to sign him.
We've thrown that out. We've thrown that one out.
Straight to the point. The Oilers can't seem to.
I follow the Oilers nonstop.
Nice.
So
how can you not though? Yeah.
Well, so I mean, real quick before you get going, I'll let you guys get back to your stuff. But I grew up in the Gretzky, Messier, like Stanley Cups 5. I mean, it was legend. I mean, it was just amazing. They won, and they were just amazing, like you would not believe. They won all kinds of Stanley Cups. Gretzky's playing, Messier, you name it. So now, fast forward up to this time. Now we have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and like that kind of stuff. So my daughter plays hockey, and so it's almost like my older daughter doesn't, but anyways, my younger daughter's really into it, and so it's like almost like and it's frustrating because they should be good, man. Like what the hell? They are good at times, but anyways, they got it's almost like a whole new time to follow the Oilers kind of thing. And they got the 2 best players in the league, and it's blah, blah, blah. But they just struggle on the goalies. They so back to your Gibson thing is basically your point is that he's on the market, I guess, right?
Yeah. He's Taylor. Do you know his he's got a .906 save percentage in 20 starts, and he's playing for the Ducks right now, who are anybody knows that they're going through a rebuild right now. So the fact that you're putting up an above 900 save percentage on a rebuilding team, it to me that shows. And I might be a little biased. Cam, you don't. I was having beers with they came up to Coeur d'Alene, the Tampa Bay Lightning coaching guys, like Coop and Blash. They came up, and I was chatting with the goalie coach, and he legit, like, I asked him, I was like, all right, who's top goalies in the league right now? And he goes, Vazzy's number 1. He's obviously going to say Vazzy. He's with Tampa. He's he is for sure.
Yes, he is.
Sure. And then he goes, Shesterkin. And I go, all right, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fella from the Islanders, why can't I remember his name?
Sorokin.
Yeah. Sorokin. Thank you.
Sorokin. Yeah. Russians. And then all of them Russians. Yep.
Yeah. And then this guy goes, and he's like, and it's probably a tie after that for 4th between Ottinger and Gibson.
Really?
I'm like, damn.
Is that what he said? Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm like, that's impressive for somebody who, because I think too many people rope him in.
He's been on a bad team.
Yeah.
Is he available? How much money does he make? Like the salary cap 100%. Stuff makes things real tough. Like that's
big shout out to big shout out to Aaron. He just pulled this up. $6.4 million a year until 26-27 season.
So that's a bit of a hit.
It's not bad.
Oh no, the Oilers are capped out though, because Connor. I mean, he even took a pay. Yeah. He even took a pay. I mean, he should be making, I don't know, $20 million a year, some crazy amount of money. Like he's the best player in the league, 100%.
Sure.
Yeah. And then Draisaitl. So they're capped out, and that's the problem. I mean, that's the only issue
you're gonna have to shed depth, which they already don't. You're gonna have to shed like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins or something to bring on.
Yeah, 100%. Nuge would probably have to go, and even that Hyman, which is a really good player.
Love his two-way game. Oh, his two-way is so good, man.
Gritty guy, and all that. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like I actually feel for GMs, not that much, but I'm telling you, like,
they're doing okay.
yeah, like they're doing okay in their life. But at the end of the day, it's like kind of like your hands are tied when you have like 2 superstars. I know Evander Kane. I think he makes a lot of money. I don't really know their contracts, but that's kind of the tricky part. But I heard the cap's going up. I heard, the COVID thing. I think the COVID thing really, really put a damper on the actual
100%.
development of the game. And, there's certain teams that play right to the cap. Like their owners say, okay, whatever the cap is, I don't even know what it is. What is it, 87 or whatever?
I think that's what they're going to. Yeah.
But whatever, there's certain owners in the NHL that tell their GM, okay, we got $87 million, and you can go right to the cent on that. And then there's also owners in the NHL that are like, yeah, no, our budget's more at like 67 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the floor? Let's hit that. Yeah.
But the Oilers GM is definitely, they are one of those teams that spend every single max amount of money. But
as growing up a Red Wings fan, now Seattle obviously, but growing up a Red Wings fan, I have mixed feelings on Kenny Holland. So, he was there for some of the good years, but man, did he just he didn't leave Yzerman much. He didn't leave Yzerman much when he left. So
I think he's I think he's definitely made the Oilers better on what they had before. I don't necessarily know if he's in I don't know. I think he's just not. I think he's a little bit tied to old school stuff a little bit more, and I'm about as old school as they get too.
Right.
So that's saying something.
Like, so I think he's a little tied to that old school mentality of this and that. Like, he develops players, lets them, like Detroit was, and I have a lot of buddies that played for their organization. They were literally 4 years in the minors kind of thing. That was just his thing, and you can't argue with it. I mean, they definitely did a good job, but you can argue with how many free agents he signed. Like, I mean, that's when I was playing. Is when they had like 12 Hall of Famers, like Detroit, like when they had 12 Hall of Famers on the team. Yeah. So but he kind of goes like, he's like this. Let's let him, whatever the word
let's
is.
Let's roll it back. Like, let's bring him. Let's try to run it back again and see, instead of start the rebuild, which he never did.
But I think the game, like, in my opinion, and I'm not like up on the game as much as maybe you guys are or whatever, but what I see is what, like, players coming straight out of junior or college or Europe and just being like straight into the league and good.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like that.
That's crazy.
That didn't happen like in our day, like, or in my day, right? It was kind of, there was a few. I mean, there was the guys that came, like in Anaheim, it was Getzlaff, but Getzlaff was, I mean, even Getzy did, like, and Perry, like, they were pretty quiet, like, their first couple of years. I mean, really, like, nowadays you have guys that are coming in and dominating right off the hop, straight out of the USA development program, or straight out of junior, or straight out of college, and just going in there and being stars on the team just like that.
Oh, people, right? It's ridiculous how expectations for rookies have gone incredibly up. Like, I mean, Bedard is setting a new bar for all that kind of stuff nowadays.
Well, he's a different story, though. I think, like, he's one of the like Bedard, Connor, like guys like that, Crosby back in the day, they were right. I mean, there was no question. I mean, Crosby, like, I think when he was 18 years old, didn't he like almost lead the league in scoring?
Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah. Connor does it, like, so that was kind of different. Like, that's my opinion on it. And I think guys are, but then within turn, in my opinion, those same kids, they're not mature enough, like, at 18, 19 years old to be put in the situations they're put into.
Yeah.
Right. So they're, maybe they were just, I mean, Connor Bedard. I mean, he's a star right off the hop, right?
Look at even the Calder winner from last year. You got jumping over to the Kraken a little bit. We got Matty Beniers winning the Calder Trophy, who, is he a solid player? Absolutely. But, he's not Connor Bedard.
But isn't he having a bad year this year or not?
He is having his sophomore. Is sophomore slump an actual, like, is that a real phenomenon that you like with rookies, or do you think that that's kind of like you say something that you say when the guy has an off year?
I think it's a term, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I wasn't in any of those situations, right?
Sure.
I mean, I didn't even make the NHL till I was like 26 years old. I mean, played the minors for a long time, but I did see this, you know, I mean, I did see players. I mean, they come in all full of piss of vinegar right off the hop, and they do this and they do that, and it's kind of like almost like an adrenaline thing. And then all of a sudden, reality hits, and then all of a sudden, the rest of the league finds out that those players are good, right? So you're talking all of a sudden they start playing against the top 2 D-man on each NHL team, and the best shutdown guys in the league and stuff like that. So I would say there is like this so-called sophomore slump.
Okay.
Maybe
100%.
Maybe for that reason, but you know, I mean, you know, that's
the
my
tape
opinion.
is out on them kind of thing.
Yeah. And the guys that can go through that, like, I mean, I'd go back to Craw. I mean, the guy's just absolutely amazing, but you know, he took it. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, he was a whiner and everybody called him a whiner, and he was complaining. I mean, my own daughter, I mean, I think she was like 7 years old because she's a huge hockey fan. She's like, Crosby's a whiner. I'm like,
I was a Red Wings fan. I was definitely in that boat, 100%, 100%.
You know, but like, I know guys that play with them. I know guys that are like really know them well. Like, I never played with them or anything like that, but I know a lot of Pittsburgh guys that were there growing up. Like Ryan Whitney's one of them. I mean, I'm not supposed to say other podcasts on your podcast.
No, it's fine.
You're good.
We acknowledge them. They're the parent podcast for all hockey podcasts.
Yeah.
They baby us. Yeah.
But anyways, it was like, you know, it was like a deal where they just kind of, you know, like there's so much expectation. There's you know, there's a deal where they, you know, they want. I mean, Crosby did it. I mean, he did it, but he had every single top NHL playing defenseman or forward, especially back in his day, like back when he first started, giving him extra cross checks in the back of the neck, like stuff that the refs don't see, you know, like just little grab their, you know, stick their stick in your skates and little extra stuff and you know, stuff like that. Now it's called. So do I think the game's better now? Yeah, maybe. But, you know, at the end of the day, that's kind of my opinion on it.
I mean, when I played, Cam, I was a little dirty for being 5'9", so I like the top of the laces shit, you know. I like to give them a little bit. Yeah, I like to run my
that little
check.
Spot.
Yeah,
that little spot right between your gloves.
Oh, yeah, I like that. That's good stuff, dude.
So
right between your shoulder or your elbow pad and your gloves, there was a spot there.
Right.
Right on the bone. And there's a nerve in there that I was taught a long time ago.
It was taught. Was that at your camp? Did you teach Chance that, or was that?
Yeah, that was day 2 where all the nerves were at a best cross check.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started coaching, I brought a lot of that kind of extra little extra stuff to the game, and I found out real early that like you can't be telling kids some of this stuff.
Yeah.
I really do. I honestly do credit your camp specific because Planet Ice hosted a lot. There was the Okanagan school, there was Robbie Glantz, like there was a bunch of big names that were there. But I honestly credit your school for the one that I didn't start getting seriously injured in hockey. Like my first major injury in hockey didn't happen until me and this guy were playing college hockey at University of Idaho. Like I ended up snapping a collarbone, but because of what I learned at that camp, like I was a smaller guy and I was able to still muck it up and not get seriously injured. You know, like, you get hit every once in a while.
Yeah. I mean, like it is like I remember back in the day, I took a little, now that I'm a parent and now that I have a daughter that plays hockey and, you know, some of the stuff that I was old school, right? So I brought
Right.
some of this to these kids, right?
Yep.
And like it wasn't like let's go hurt somebody. It was like here's how to protect yourself in these different situations, right?
So, Cam,
And little tricks of the game. So
Oh yeah, no. So I'm trying to. I'll tee up here. So recently, is it Nolan Patrick Taylor?
Yep.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Nolan Patrick comes out. Guy's 25 years old. Comes out. It sounds like
Terrible situation.
sounds like he's going to retire from multiple concussions. He can't. It got walked back. It says he's not actually retiring, but for all intents and purposes, it sounds like he's done in the game. Yeah. And he says it's from multiple concussions. Guy, really couldn't even get a shot in the show before he had a chance because he just was getting hit. So, and this kind of piggies back on, kind of a conversation that's been going on in the league for quite a while. Like even, Torts loves getting in front of a mic and talking about how the guys just don't have the grit anymore. But yeah, but so it's the conversations are now coming out. Like, is the game? Are kids not getting taught how to protect themselves against these big hit? Like, is that not a thing anymore? Or are we, or even more of a better question, like, do you see more injuries now than you did back in your day?
Right.
Wow, that's a pretty good way to put it. I don't know how much trouble I'm gonna get in on this, but I 100% agree.
Okay.
That there is no like I've been part of USA Hockey teaching and all the above for lots of years, and I've been part of Hockey Canada, all the above. Because I've coached longer than I played, but there's no emphasis on protection of any kind of like what I don't understand, I guess, is kids just go back for the puck in the corner and like have no okay, nobody's gonna hit me at all because apparently nobody hits anymore, but they still go. And then that one kid that is from Trail, BC, because or whatever, just has him, in the trolley tracks and buckles the poor kid that had no idea about that didn't have so that, I mean, that's a whole nother story. Like Spokane and Coeur d'Alene teams, because of the proximity of where they are at, they get to cross the border into Canada, and a 2.5 hour drive, you're playing against a pretty decent team from Creston or Cranbrook or
Castlegar,
wherever, Castlegar, you name it. And there are players like Hockey Canada still a little bit, and I don't know if it's Hockey Canada, but it may be from their parents. Like, you better go run somebody in the corner kind of thing.
Right.
Like, that's kind of how
don't come home. Yeah.
Yeah, and so there is kids are so not used to protecting themselves or putting themselves in comparable positions in the game and end up getting hurt over it.
Yeah, learn how to take. It was, I mean, I don't know if this was one of my practices or shit that I learned at your camp, but it was, learn how to take a hit.
Yeah. No, I used to do like back in the day, I used to do this 3-day checking camp deal. And it was like, I got all kinds of shit for it because like basically what I did was I took all these kids, and this is back in the day. This is a long time ago. I mean, I don't even think I'd probably be in jail if I did it now. Or not jail, but anyways, it was like, okay, let's find all these different ways of the game where kids are getting hit. Kids are getting, going into the corner, with their back, not looking, not doing the head shake, not doing all the above. Let's put them in all these different situations. Let's just kind of let them run each other kind of thing. And so a player could feel how it feels to get hit. And so when they get hit in the game, they're not like, at like yard sale, gloves. Yeah, like that kind of stuff. And that's how it feels and gives them more confidence. And how to keep your hands down. But I also taught how to hit people, without hurting them, in a way. But you take 14-year-old kids or 13-year-old kids or whatever, and you just kind of basically throw the bone out there for them, and
Right.
it turns into a little bit of a deal where like I had parents cry. I mean, in the stands. I mean, oh my god, but they had the kid at the same time going, oh man, I know how it feels like. Yeah, I just got smoked in that drill. So I just basically thought of all these different hockey situations that gets a kid pumped in the shoulder a little bit or knocked off his what, but it's like, I mean, if I did that nowadays, I'd be suspended from USA Hockey for the rest of life, kind of thing, because it did get turned away a little bit. Like you do a gauntlet. I don't know if you guys know what the gauntlet is.
That's exactly what I was about to bring up, Cam. That's what we called it. Yep.
They don't do the gauntlet anymore. Oh, there's
no
way.
You can't. You'd be kicked out of USA. I mean,
immediately.
Or you're on YouTube, right? You're on YouTube and you're just getting
parents
grilled.
Parents
would
sign a petition. So. We all went through the gauntlet, but yeah.
But I would always make sure that we had like 4 coaches there, like within the line, and making sure they're keeping their hands down and showing the kids in the gauntlet, like not because. Like if you don't monitor it good, these kids will just like, if there's one kid that's wheeling through there that maybe some of the kids don't like, they're going to cross-check them right in the face, right?
Sure.
Right.
So it's like, okay, let's keep them down, let's keep them low, let's make sure that this is all good, and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like dinosaur stuff too. Like, I mean, nobody even gets hit in NHL. I mean, yes, they do, but they get suspended. I mean, it's kind of. I like the game. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a bunch of what's out there, but it's just
it kind of is.
No, it kind of is. It kind of is, and
it depends.
It depends. There's been it definitely. I don't think you can even disagree with it. Like, there's been a concentrated effort by the NHL to try to make the game a lot less physical. They've been trying to discourage that stuff, and that's so that they can get their stars to put the puck in the net more, so they can market that kind of stuff. I don't think that's. I mean, Gary Bettman's been trying to do it for a while now, and I think the casual fan might like to see more goals, but all 3 of us sitting here. You sit here and you go, God, guys like.
I don't think that's wrong.
Yeah, no, it's a situation. Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
I don't think that's wrong.
Yeah,
and what they're doing, especially with the knowledge of CTE. The damage. Well, CT. I mean, who knows? Like, who knows if I have it? Who knows if we all have it? Whatever. I mean, I always take it this way. I signed up for this game, and it was a passion of my life, and I was going to do whatever the hell it is. I mean, if that happened over this game, then fine. I mean, that was it, right? I have everything I have in my life, even to the job I have to this day because of hockey. So, at the end of the day, it's like, I signed up for it. But I do agree with the knowledge of head trauma and all the above. But and what what goes on with stuff that we didn't know about. Like back in the day, it was kind of like, you got a bump on the head. All right. I don't even know where I'm at and stuff. My dad would be like, all right, well, just take a nap. You're good.
Get him a beer and you're good to go.
That's right. Icy one. And we're good.
Yeah. So I definitely will. I 100% agree with that. But the problem I have with it is the, and it's just dinosaur stuff too. And I hear guys talk about it, but there's no accountability. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like if I went, and I go back to others. I mean, if I went and ran Connor McDavid and put him through the boards and and freaking, I don't know, hopefully didn't hurt him, but that was not my intention, but just to make him know. There ain't nobody that's coming, like back in the day, it was like every NHL team had 2 for sure, 2 to 3 legitimate tough guys, that just basically sat on the bench and barked and said, hey, if you touch that, I mean, they didn't get a lot of shifts. I was one of them. Like when I finally did get to NHL, I mean, I made sure that, nobody touched Paul Correa or Timo Solana, whatever it was. And if they did, I was on the bench barking at them. And then at the end of the day, and I never was pushed to. That's the one thing that I think is kind of like there was never a coach, and that's what I think a lot of people have got mistaken. Like never once in my career, and I was in a lot of fights. Never once did I have a coach tell me to go fight. Like he knew it. Like he knew what to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Like he knew that something needed to be done. Like Paul Correa was going to be the reason that we won, or Timo Solani, or like I mean, I played in Columbus. Rick Nash was going to be the reason we won, and then everybody, when you're winning, you're winning, right? Like, and everybody gets paid, and everybody, all the above. So that was kind of basically my mentality, right? Nowadays, it's kind of like somebody could stick Sidney Crosby in the throat. I mean, maybe that's a bit of a
but not
too much,
but not too far off.
Right,
like not too far off, honestly.
Yeah, like and probably not have to worry about anything happening. Like I was terrified. I mean, like there was some really tough guys, and I thought twice on a lot of things. Like I mean, especially because I got knocked out a few different times from like big NHL. I mean, like Georgie Larocque, like he was he was he was 260 pounds. He played for the Oilers. I mean, he was, I remember when I signed with Calgary, I kind of got to so I signed with Calgary and I turned down another deal, and I was like, oh, but I wanted to play in Canada and I want a family. I was like, holy man, you got a contract from Calgary Flames. I got all my family there, blah, blah, blah. Super cool. First team ever to play in Canada, and all the above. And I was like, okay, all right, perfect. So then the next thing I know, right after I signed, and they're like, Daryl Sutter, awesome guy. He's like, I shouldn't say that either because a lot of people don't like him either. But
it seems like you either love Sutter or hate Sutter kind of thing.
I love him, dude. I mean, that guy. I mean, he wasn't like but it was he's my type of coach. Some guys maybe like, you know what I mean? Simple as that. But anyways, like, yeah, you're gonna play for us this whole year. Week before training camp, they signed Darren McCarty, which is he played for Detroit. He was a tough guy. He was the guy that punched
McCarty,
out. Yeah, he was the guy that punched out Claude Lemieux and that crazy.
Oh yeah, the brawl in Hockey Town.
Yeah, but they signed him, and he was like, at that time, he kind of was going through some life issues and blah blah blah. I'm like, boom. Next thing I know, I'm down to the minors. I'm like, just as simple as that. I'm like, okay, see you later. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. Like, okay, so the last. And I kind of seen the writing on the wall. The last two games of the preseason deal, I fight Georgie Larocque I fight him like we're playing against Edmonton or whatever. And I'll never forget. I was like, he was just killing people. Like, I mean, really tough. Like, just
with a name like Georgie Larocque, you got to be a fucking tough guy.
Oh yeah.
No, he was just so big, and so he hurt people like you wouldn't believe. Like, I mean,
but then he'd apologize for it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but he's actually a super good guy. I mean, he's like,
they always are. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, I got one last chance, I guess. And so I go, I'm like, my dad calls me. He's like, yeah, I got there's 35 people from my hometown in Saskatchewan coming up for this preseason game. And I'm like, well, I'm going to have to fight George Larocque. And I don't know if I want everybody to watch this. And, holy man, I'm probably just going to try to survive in it. And I'm not a small guy either, but it was like one of those things.
It's kind of like getting, somebody's got to bring up, like you got to fight Bobby Probert or something like that. If you're,
I don't know. Bobby, he's tough too, but he just threw and you just kind of went toe to. I didn't fight Bobby Probert at all, but he Georgie Larocque was putting his fist through your jaw, completely crumpling it because he was so big and strong. And I fought him, blah blah blah, and did okay, and stood up, and he threw me down a couple times, jumped back up, blah, blah, blah. You know, holy man, I get her. You know, all my family there, like 45 freaking friends from my hometown and everything like that. And just like, oh man, I did her. It's all over. It's all over.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
The boys don't do that anymore. The boys don't pop
Sent-
back up. Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. I mean, like, you wouldn't even believe the anxiety of it, like, that I had. And then, like, just whatever. And then I get it all done, go with all my buddies and party with them and my parents and whatever. Holy shit. And next day I come to the rink, I'm getting sent down to the minors. I'm like,
Oh, that's
you know,
well, you got
Thanks-
to fight
Thanks
it.
for nothing. Yeah.
Aaron, shout out to
Yeah.
Aaron real quick. LaRock, 131 NHL fights. So
Good God.
the guy threw some fists a little bit, eh?
Sure did.
yeah, he was really strong, like really strong.
Oh, I bet.
Like, I mean, he was 260 pounds jacked, like an NFL player, like
Yeah,
jacked.
yeah.
And I was a big guy too, but I was like more like 220, 215 kind of thing. So
Just throwing them.
Well, boys, before we get too far, we got to do a quick mid roll. We gotta pay some bills and shit. So let's
Taylor, we throwing some money on some hockey games here or something?
Dude, I mean, I gotta send you money. I gotta make money first, and then I'll send you some money. We can throw some bets down, but yeah, let's. If you do want to bet the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook, go ahead and download the app DraftKings Sportsbook. A lot of good stuff. We'll be kind of going over some of that stuff. We do throw some bets down and stuff. We play a little more fantasy hockey than do some betting and things, but we're still kind of licking our wounds from Patty Kane not putting up a point in his first game.
Oh
so.
man, yeah. Whoever thought it was a good idea to put money on Patty Kane scoring in his first game, you're an idiot, because I know that I am one. So
yeah, I definitely I made the executive decision there. So
you can bet on that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's good shit.
Oh, I would have bet on that one.
Oh yeah, is that right? Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
The other one that we had an option for that game was 3 or more shots. So we picked wrong because I think he had three.
He's been the Red Wings have not done well with him there, but he has been doing well.
Yeah. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN as in the Hockey Podcast Network. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN as in the Hockey Podcast Network. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an officially sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023. All rights reserved.
Did Gary Bettman are we getting a cutback from Gary Bettman to say that last part? Did we get that?
That sounds like a Bettman thing. Yeah, I know he's cutting back on us. It's all the kid from Ottawa's fault, right?
Yes.
Pinto fucked us.
Pinto, yeah.
God damn
it.
it.
What's the story with that?
He was gambling on something, and apparently you can't do that if you're a player. So
sure.
it's very much frowned upon.
Cockfights or something.
Yeah, so they haven't released it, so we've just made up the narrative that he was betting on cockfights until told otherwise.
Oh, sure. Hey, if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it.
He's supposed to be a really good player.
He is very good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a shame. I think he got 41 games for that sucker too. Whoa.
That's
a lot of hockey, man.
Ironic from a league that like every other ad is a gambling ad. But
well, sure.
Yeah, it's all good. Hey, actually, real quick, now that our mid roll's over, speaking of Cam bringing it up perfectly, good segue. Let's talk about the Ottawa Senators real quick because they just fired their coach.
Sure did.
Now, I don't know if you guys listeners understand this, but this was a complete shock. Absolutely, right? Everybody, like, who could
Oh,
have
yeah, we
seen
didn't see
this?
it.
Who could have seen this coming? That the Ottawa Senators were going to fire their coach after being absolute dead last in the Eastern
Fuck.
Conference.
Haven't scored a goal in weeks. Yuck.
He's been there for a while though. I think he's one of the most long-standing coaches ever, and I've heard really good things about him.
That's
This
true.
is my
Yep.
this is my opinion on it. I don't know if my timing's right or not.
No, it's good. Hit me with it.
Baru became available.
Oh,
Okay.
I think so.
That's what
So, Cam,
That's
Cam,
what
what's,
I.
Cam,
So my
what's
timing
the-
off there.
No, it's good. Cam, what's the feel on Berube? Like, is he like, oh, he came in and he just kind of, was that one-off wonder who won the cup with St. Louis?
No.
Okay.
He's
a stud.
He's a stud. Like he's like one of the old school like these coaches like Rick Tocchet would be one of them, I think, and
Okay.
then Berube. I don't know.
Well, you shook your head at Torts when I said his name earlier.
That's a different story.
That's a different story.
A personal thing.
Sure.
No, not even personal. I never played for him at all. I just know guys that but so these guys have come with the integrity of playing the game for a long time. And Berube was tough and Tocchet was tough, and there's more. Like I don't know for sure who else would be in the NHL, but that kind of style coach. First off, they absolutely commit, or would it be command? Would it be they just get the respect from players, right, for what they did as a player, and then they're kind of like at this like I think Ottawa coach TJ Smith, like I think he was like he's a really good guy. Like I heard all the story. Well, not all the stories. I'm so far out of the game, but I heard he's like a player's coach. Like he, and I don't know if you guys know the difference. Like, so, I mean, there isn't a difference, but there is in a way. Like, so player's coach is kind of a guy that he's there for the boys, and the boys like him, and he kind of takes this softer mentality. And they work too. I'm not saying those coaches don't work, right? Like a lot of them do. Cooper's one of them, 100%. I mean, look at that guy,
so
right?
Let me while you're on this, is perfect. Like to ask you. So Coop, I told you I was with not in this last summer. Coop came up and he asked me dead on. He's like, "All right, you can't name me. You can't say me. Who's the best coach in the NHL?" And I really had to think about this because I was like, "Oh fuck, this is like." Arguably, the best coach in the NHL is asking me who the best coach in the NHL is.
It kind of depends what group you're with.
Right. Exactly. So I had to really think about this, and I took probably 3 or 4 minutes and a couple sips of beer, and I go, "All right, Coop, I got one for you." And he goes, "All right, hit me." I go, "Rod Brindamore," and he's like, "You know what? I'll take that. I'll take that."
Well, there. Yeah, I can't even believe I didn't name him. Yeah. So there's another one of my whole point.
Okay. Yep, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So 100%.
Do you think that old school, and this kind of leads back to what we were talking about with Ottawa, like, do you think that old school mentality of like that, that Herb Brooks coach, like, oh, if they hate me, they don't have time to hate
Brooks
each other.
Is a different one. No.
Right.
Yeah.
Herb Brooks. No.
Fair.
I mean, I heard stories about that guy. No, I mean, yeah, he's awesome, but no.
Sure.
No, I'm talking a coach that actually played the game, played the NHL for tons of years, and not necessarily even being a tough guy. Like I mean, Brindamore wasn't tough. I mean, like he played tough, but he didn't fight or nothing. Like Tocchet or Berube. Berube was a killer, like an absolute killer, like scary tough, right? I never played against him. He was already, but if those same type of coaches come in and can kind of go, hey, you know what? Here's how I played. I'm a pretty tough guy, and I expect you to work hard, and I expect you to do the dirty thing. I expect you to go in front of the net, and I expect you to do, block shots. I expect you to do that. And those same players nowadays, which nowadays players are not like Berube, or not like me, or not like Brendamore, or not like whatever. But those same coaches that can connect somehow to those players that are way softer, and no offense to any NHL player at all. I mean, like I'm not calling NHL players soft. I mean, they got to play the league. It's just a different game. But if that same tough coach can go, hey, you know what? I want you to get in your uncomfortable mode. I want you to stand in front of the net. And I want you to battle and do things that you maybe don't want to do. And they can portray that message to them in a way that's not like, well, I'll say torts. I mean,
Sure.
Torts is
I mean, it's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Torts is like, fuck you, stand in front of the fucking net. I don't give a fuck who you are, blah, 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 right? And then like looking at Torts going, and I mean, Torts has done a heck of it. I mean, fuck, he's a really good coach. I mean,
it seems like Torts is either like the teams love him or hate him, and he either has like a lot of success, or like his teams are trying to or his teams are struggling to get to OT so they can maybe limp into the playoffs with OT losses.
Yeah.
No, it's just he's basically like, there's a few of them that are like these 2 to 3 year kind of set the culture and set the structure, bring them in, because they don't last too long nowadays. Like players kind of go, hey, no, like, and that's nothing against players nowadays or anything like that. Like, but they don't have that. But these like Torts is Torts, but I'm talking like a Berube or a Talkett, like like, or a Brendamore that has been there, done that. And these players, like those 3 people that I just said, can actually ask these players to go above what they actually think is hard work or whatever commitment. Like they can ask them to do that. And these players will do that because they did it. Like they did it. And so I'm a big believer in those kind of coaches. I don't know if they're really good X's and O's and stuff like that. That's why you have like an assistant coach that takes care of the power play, and then you got the other assistant coach takes care of the penalty kill. But the voicing member of that whole culture is the head coach.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion.
Put it in perspective, Cam. Torts has the Flyers at 18-11-3 and second in the Metro, though. I mean, something's working though, right?
100%. He does it everywhere he goes. He goes. Yeah. But it comes to a point where, like, after 2 or 3 years,
it wears on you.
It wears down.
Oh, it's hard. It's really hard. And I'm talking even old school times, like Daryl Sutter was the same way. Like, I mean, he just coached. I mean, he just, I don't know. Did you guys hear that? My phone just said, I don't understand.
Yeah. Doesn't understand the old school coaching. I get it. Yeah,
it's all new school.
Yeah, exactly. My phone just told me it, but that's my point, though. I think in my opinion, like if I was a player nowadays and I was still playing, I would want a Berube or a Brendamore. Those kind of guys talk it, like, and I think there's somebody else out there too that
we gotta throw John Cooper in there.
Well, Cooper's different. Coop never played. Coop never played. He's a unique, and I know him too. He's awesome. His kid, is
dude came
like
up
really.
Here. I'm having beers with him, and he's wearing a Slayer.
He's
shirt.
a different
what
one.
a guy.
He's a different one. I don't know. He's like, he never even played. I think he played a little bit of college or something like that. And I think at one time he was a lawyer. And and like how, I mean, he's got something else. That's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm more.
So player coaches. So we're
Like
talking like
Marty.
Martin. How about Martin
Yeah.
St. Louis?
Yeah.
Not a tough guy, but a guy in the league for sure.
Has been there, done that kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's. I don't know if he did. I mean, when he came in, it was kind of a change there. Montreal's a different deal.
Oh, sure,
I think
absolutely.
I think
That's,
he kind of
God.
changed a little bit, but I don't know unless he's got really good. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah.
Wait and see. Yeah.
So okay, so this is actually a good way to set this up. So Taylor so they bring in a guy who is officially, and Cam, I don't know if you knew this, officially the oldest coach to ever coach in the NHL ever. They're bringing in a new guy. Jacques Martin. Coming in.
I googled all this stuff today because as soon as you sent me what you're like I'm like, holy shit! I thought they were going to talk about my whole career, but yeah.
So Martin comes in,
which is good, which I didn't want to talk about. So anyway, go
ahead. Coming in at 74 years old, like Cam, that's up there, man. Like, is there an issue? Like, if you're an NHL player and you got a guy out there that is that old, is that going to be an issue?
Well, it's no, he's just so all they brought him in for, like, they had to get rid of DJ or whatever, which I've heard nothing but good things about him.
I was going to say, do you think that even though he was liked in the room, do you think that was merited? Like, do you keep him for stability? Because the rumor is that the players wanted stability. They were tired because I don't know how close you follow the Ottawa Senators, but they seem to attract a bit of headlines and not necessarily good ones. The players yearned for stability, and they were wanting to keep the coach.
Is that what the GM or the owner said?
I guess they were saying the ownership, the new ownership rather, not the old Eugene Melnyk. They were saying, and Bobby Ryan, who's a big Ottawa Senators guy, like he was even kind of talking like
he played.
They wanted stability. They're tired of all of this crazy stuff going on with the GM.
But that's more like, no, I know, but I think more of that stuff is not the actual coach. I mean, it was like the ownership and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, they 100% probably wanted stability. I'm pretty sure they brought that Jacques Martin or whatever you call him. Yeah. Jacques Martin. Just to finish this off, while they're trying to find somebody else to come in. I mean, that guy ain't gonna coach, right? Like, I mean, he's gonna finish off the year, and then he'll move into, like, upper management. I mean, there ain't no way that he's able to coach this type of society or generation.
Yeah, absolutely. Taylor, tell me, in your thoughts, like, when they get rid of DJ, was it the coach's fault, or did everybody, and Cam, you can kind of even chime in on this after Taylor, but like, was it the coach's fault, or were everybody kind of setting the Senators up a little too high than they actually are?
I think that's a good point. I think we had high expectations for them. We put them, especially Ottawa fans are putting them towards the top, right? On paper, they have a very good team. I think you have to think of it as a business, right? You got to think of it as a business. You got to think, hey, this is the guy I'm going to go grab beers with, right? This is a great guy in DJ Smith, but I don't know. He's not getting the job done, right? So at some point, you got to kind of move on. You got to find that next mode, especially with guys like Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle. Studs. You got guys on the back end, like, Chikrin. You got, those kind of players.
Jason, they got that Jason guy. He's unreal. He's a D-man. His I played against his dad, Jason, right?
Yeah. So I think.
Am I wrong? Has he played for them? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he still is.
Let me take a look.
But he was
100%.
You're right. Yeah. So definitely. Like they have a great team, right? So they just needed some fresh blood. They needed some realistically fresh eyes, right? They needed someone to see what was going on from behind the bench onto the ice. They needed someone that just could kind of throw it in there a little bit. I personally, I think a kind of minor move. I think it's moving around the Twitterverse a little bit. Alfredson, man. Alfredson behind the bench, learning a couple
Alfredson,
things. This
yeah.
is exactly what Cam was
Yeah.
talking about, right?
Guy's a
Those guys that have
legend.
played, right? So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, to Cam's point, there's no way Jacques is going to be there past this season. There's just no way. He's
No.
interim. He's just figuring out what they need.
He
And
probably doesn't
he's
even want it. I mean,
he doesn't
guaranteed.
want it. No way. No way.
You think we were messaging Bobby Ryan and I
They're
was like, hey,
gonna hire Berube. Tell him.
I think you're right. Yep, I agree.
does
I think
does
you're right.
Berube want to be a part of a rebuilding team?
I think that's what he's good at, though, right?
I don't know. I don't talk to him, but yeah, I mean,
Fair.
he's good that way. I mean, I think that's what they need because they got a bunch of young guys that need to see. That's the thing. I think that's what happened with the Oilers, like a little bit is, and I don't know. I don't want to get a whole bunch of shit from everybody. I'm scared to say what I want to say.
We'll put toe around it.
Yeah.
But like I just think like these I don't know. I've seen the successful coaches that are these guys that are like they hold players accountable and to the highest degree. Like I mean,
Okay.
like know your job in the defensive zone. I mean, like that kind of stuff. Like they just like I don't know. It's like something that nobody can really explain until you talk to a player that played in the generation I played in, where it's like you were held accountable for. I mean, if you were lazy in the defensive zone and you lost your assignment, you were freaking told that, and you were told that in not the nicest way either, at all, right? And like, kind of what I seen was like if you challenge guys, they almost like want to like do this like fuck you to the coach kind of thing. Like, am I allowed to like swear on
Yeah.
this?
Oh yeah,
deal?
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So so the good coaches like would do this like they would challenge these guys like to get them to almost hate them and like get these players to be like, I'm gonna fucking show this coach. He said this to me, and I'm gonna freaking show him that I'm way better. It's kind of this FU mentality, I guess, kind of thing. And that's what the old school guys do. The younger guys, I mean, I actually know Jay Woodcroft. And even their new coach, Ryan, what's his name, Knobloch or whatever. I played junior against that guy. But I don't know if it's gonna work. Like I think they need, and that's just my mentality. I don't have all the answers for anything.
Cam,
but I like those coaches. I like those style coaches.
Let me throw this at you, and then I wanna talk about Seattle. Before the season in the East, there were three teams that everybody was like looking to take the next step. Like, okay, these three teams have been bad for a while. It's fine. It's finally time for them to take that next step. They were talking about Ottawa. They're talking about Buffalo, and they were talking about
Jersey.
Detroit.
Oh, Detroit.
No, New Jersey was like penciled in. They've made the playoffs. They might make a cup run. These are the three teams that have been like bottom dwellers for the last few years. They might take the next step. What are your thoughts on that? It's Ottawa, Buffalo, and Detroit.
Well, I have a lot of ties to Buffalo, for instance. So when I played in the East Coast, like my first year pro was for Don Granado, and his assistant coach, Jason Christie, was the assistant coach at that time. So I got some ties to Buffalo. So I think Don Granado is probably the best coach that I've ever played for, like, to be honest with you. So I got a little ties to that. But that aside, I think that it's very surprising that they're not that good right now because they have that Tage Thompson and they got that
Stud.
that Swede
Darlene.
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 Yeah.
They got that young goalie. I think he struggled too. I think they sent him down to the minors.
Devin Levi. Yep.
Devin Levi. So I don't know about that. You know, at the end of the day, Ottawa is like they're on the up and up.
Okay.
Like and Detroit's got Stevie Y. Simple as that. The guy's
that's it.
So
That's all you
you're
gotta
asking
say.
me. So you're asking me which team would be the best out of those? The only reason I'll say it is because Stevie Y is in Detroit. That guy's smart as shit.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Love it.
All right.
Love it.
But there's also arguments on the other two that you asked me on, in my opinion. But that's
totally. No, that makes sense. Stevie Y is. It seems anytime that they get a big free agent now, Taylor, like it's like, oh, why'd you come to Detroit? Steve Yzerman. Like
that's easy.
100%. No, he's I don't know. There's something about him. Like I don't know if you guys are met him, and like he's like there's something about him that he's just like I have a man crush on him. I mean,
he's got like an aura, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and he like when he talks to players, but he's also smart too. Like look what we did in Tampa Bay, and look what he's doing in Detroit. They're on the up and up, right? I don't know what their record is right now. Are they bad or good or?
They're up and down. Like it's they're either on like a 7 or 8 game win streak and they're on a 7 game losing streak. Like they kind of they're high, lots of highs and lows. They're not really consistent at the moment, but they're definitely better than they were last year. That's for sure. Currently 15, 13 and 4. So kind of in the middle of the pack, but it's certainly better than they were last year. That's not good. All right, let's we're heading toward the end of the show. Let's wrap it up with some Kraken talk. Taylor, we've got Winter Classic coming up here in a week now. We've been seeing some stuff online, and they're setting down the ice. It's looking like it's gonna be a good time in old downtown Seattle.
The official date that they started was the 18th, which I believe was Monday. So we're officially on the way. We have outdoor ice in downtown Seattle, which is just asinine to say. But
who would have ever seen it? Growing up in this area, like you were Alaska,
that's a pretty cool thing.
Came down this area. It's so cool. It's absolutely so cool. It's the coolest thing. I'm not necessarily excited for them to be playing Vegas. But it's got the set up for a really good time, and it's going to be a good thing for hockey. Cam, ask you a little bit. Have you been following the Kraken at all? And if you have, do you have a player that stands out to you on the team? Obviously, talking about Yamo, can't not mention Yamo.
No, that's it for me. Like to be honest with you, I'm a Kraken fan. I mean, other than Yamo, I mean, like I think they like, in my opinion, and I'm like I said, I take this. I mean, I don't follow them as much as I should, but they have a structure to them that is a very tight defensive game. They don't have, I mean, maybe Matty Beniers, but I don't think so yet. But they're kind of like one of those teams like that'll just be good, but they don't have the superstar kind of stuff, which is totally understanding. Back in my day, like when the NHL, like when San Jose came in, or Ottawa, or Phoenix, they were terrible for years, like years. Horrible. I was drafted by San Jose. That's the only reason I got drafted by San Jose. Right? I mean, so I get it in a way that they, but I just don't see like the game is totally developed on superstar kind of stuff.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like that's my opinion. I mean, is it Grubauer as their goalie?
Yeah.
Grubauer is in the
He's
goal right now
right
for
now.
them. Yeah, he's in the goal for him right now. but will be it's Joey Dackert at the moment. So since Grubauer's
I've
been
never
hurt,
even
Joey.
heard of him. But,
So he's a young kid. He's a young kid. He's developed down in the AHL a little bit, but he's playing out of his fucking mind right now, which is nuts.
Where's their AHL team? Is it
Coachella? It's
Coachella. They're
Coachella
a brand
Valley?
new AHL team. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another story that people don't ever talk about is how awesome the league has became on having their minor league team on the West Coast. Like
right.
our minor league team in Anaheim was Cincinnati, Ohio. I mean, like I remember like Minnesota's farm team was Houston. Like I don't know where their farm team is now, but it was like such a absolute, like you get called up, you're going to another time zone. Like not even close. Like half the time the teams are so cheap they wouldn't even call somebody up, they go shorthanded. Because of that travel stuff. And nowadays they got the West Coast, so you got Vegas is in Henderson, that's where Speltzy's at.
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys know Tim Speltz.
Yep.
He's the GM of Speltzy, or I mean the GM of Henderson. Yeah. And
so, we've got the Kraken also made a trade recently. Cam, I don't know if you know of this guy, Thomas Tatar. Kind of been in the league for quite a while now. Taylor, when you saw this trade, what did you like? Initial thoughts? I'm a Red Wings fan, so I knew Tatar's like early time, but I'm interested to hear from somebody who like didn't follow him very early on.
He had a down year this year. He's getting a little bit on the, getting a little gray in the beard. But my initial thought was,
there's nothing wrong with a gray beard.
You know what? I'm starting to poke him too, so I can't complain too much. But it was like this isn't what they need. What's going on? But with the amount of injuries, they had to bring in somebody, and who knows what he can do, right? So.
He's not going to do nothing.
No, he's not going to do anything. But they had to try something with Schwartzy, Burakovsky. They were missing some guys. So
they need defensive help is what their main thing. But yeah, with the injuries coming out, Tatar for a 5th round pick, might as well have traded him a bag of pucks. So it's a low risk move. He's only there for a year. If he does great, re-sign him. He can help with depth. But
that's. In my opinion, that's the thing with Seattle. They don't do any big stuff. They just kind of keep like.
That's Francis, man. That's Ron Francis, the GM. That's just these. That's
I'm not saying Ron Francis is what he's doing. I mean, I'm not here to say that, but like they don't do like if you look at like because I'm trying to be a Seattle fan. I mean, because my dog, it's the closest team, and like what an unbelievable thing. I've been here forever, and all of a sudden they got this NHL team, but they don't do anything. Like, I don't know. They don't bring anybody in. Like,
who's a star you think they should go after? If like obviously you can be like, oh yeah, Connor McDavid. No, like a realistic star.
No.
Like who should they target? Somebody that would like be the what's a good example? Like Jack. You know how Vegas traded for Jack Eichel? Like who's their Jack Eichel?
Well, it should have been. I heard Patty Kane was in there a little bit, but
somebody like that though,
something like that. Like, see, like I said, I wish I was more like of a hockey analyst kind of thing, but I would say like I would say something, but it doesn't seem like they really, they've done better than anybody's ever expected, right?
Yeah.
And so Francis has this model, right? Because that's how he was. I mean, even though he's really good, but he wasn't really that good. He was really good with the stats and everything like that, but like he's you look on his stats and everything like that, it's unbelievable where he's up. I think he's like one of the top leading scorers in the history of the game, right? But nobody really even knew about him kind of thing. So that's kind of like where he's trying to get at. And I mean, if that model works, I mean, all the power to him. But they need some kind of a superstar to come in. I don't know what that name would be. I mean, what do you guys think? Who do you think? I mean, that's more on. They need some stud to come in there. I think.
It's tough. Taylor, yeah, is it Taylor? Anybody come to mind to you? Like if they were going to get a Jack Eichel type, not necessarily Jack Eichel, but like a star that would become the like resounding head of that team.
I mean, thinking of guys on the block, I mean, not really guys that are
There's
necessarily
nobody
a
out there.
star.
There's
Yeah,
like
there's just not a lot going on. So I mean, the name that comes to mind, I mean,
Draisaitl.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
anybody would
Draisaitl,
want to
yeah.
have Draisaitl. Yeah,
Yeah, if he was, I think because Toronto eventually the cap's going to catch up with Toronto. Nylander might be a hell of a target. I think
Nylander, there it is, right there. Yep, that's one.
Nylander's probably going. So you're just looking. You
Either
got to
one
look
of
at
those.
those.
Marner would be the other one, maybe too.
Sure.
If he was wanting to
they're
get
not
out of
gonna
there, the rumors of his dad being upset with all of Toronto are pretty solid. So
I'll throw a name at you. I'll throw a name at you real quick. Elias Lindholm. I know he's been linked to Colorado, but he is on the block and he's had a couple point per game seasons, which they could definitely use. So
that could also
is
work.
that the guy for Calgary?
Yep. He's like the top line center guy. So
Calgary's got to shit or get off the pot. Like they got to figure out if they're rebuilding or.
Oh, they're done. They're done.
Oh, they're done.
I think so too.
Oh, they're done.
I think so too.
So okay, then maybe Jonathan Huberdeau needs a new home. Huberdeau needs a new home.
Sure. Yep.
I don't understand that one either. He goes from 100. He goes from 110 points when he was with who's Winnipeg,
Florida,
Florida, yeah,
Florida. Oh,
yeah,
that was the other guy. And then to like 59.
Yeah,
is that right?
Crazy.
Oh, he's
low.
He's on. He's having like a terrible year. Like shouldn't be.
And he's sucking.
And
he's sucking this year too.
Yep. Yeah, not doing good.
French guy.
All right, we're rounding out the show. I think that's about it for us. Cam, thank you so much for coming on, man. Like this was awesome.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. Well, anytime, guys. Thanks.
Absolutely. We'll reach out to you again and we'll figure it out. Once again, we want to thank our sponsors real quick. The Hub Tavern out in Spokane. That is the hockey bar here in Spokane, Washington, part of the Anchor Alliance. Stop in and check them out. Monterey Cafe in downtown Spokane. They are the greatest karaoke bar down there and some awesome pizza as well. Shout out to the Hockey Podcast Network and Fire Chief John Miller, longtime listener, longtime supporter of the show.
Boy.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thanks again. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next week. Bye.